So I believe this is video number 4. We're going to start to assemble the brushes, and we're going to set this later. So we're going to put these two things away, our arms. We're going to try to get these brushes ready, and we need these as straight as possible. They're a little stiffer than the other wire. These do not have an insulator on them. So what we need to do is get these as straight as possible. If you bend these too much, they will break, and then we're in trouble. You will eventually have to make a new one of these out of a metal paper clip, and they just don't work as well as like these do, okay? So what we want to do is try to get this as straight as possible. Whenever I do mine, I want to have like one loop. Now some of them come with 2 or 3 loops. And then down here at the bottom, we want this to be as much of a 90 degrees as possible. I want this to go straight up and down, okay? So, you kind of want that to be like this, all right? So I'm going to straighten this out. I'm going to try to get it as tall as possible. That's why I like to have only one loop here, but I want it to come off. It's got to come off a little bit just to be able to make the side. Okay, this one may be too close to the loop. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So on one of these, all right, there's this hole right here. It barely goes through. This loop has to be over top of that hole, and it's not going to do it. So I've got to bend this again. I've got it too close. Again, try not to bend these too much or they will break, but I've got to be able to get this. Whenever I bend this, this has to be over top of that hole right there, but then in the bends, it has to go inside of this tiny hole. So I'm thinking it's about right there. I want that to be kind of a 90 degrees, okay? That may be too far. We're going to find out. All right, yep, too far. So hopefully I don't break this one. Okay, being very gentle, because what I say, if I break this, it's not cool. Hopefully that's going to work. That's a little closer. Barely going to work. Okay, see how that's going to work right there? Okay, now this one, this long one, I've got the very end of this. I used the sandpaper and I took the coating off of it down here. It still has insulation back here. This one I've taken the insulation off quite a bit. This has to connect with this one. The electricity has to go from this brush to here. So to get all of this secure from the top, I'm going to drop in one of my connectors. Like so. All right. So I can take this brush back out. I'm going to put it into the tiny hole, drop the loop over the top of this. Are we good so far? See what's happening? And then this, I'm going to wrap as well. All right. Try to get that up there, kind of as neat as possible. And then we'll mash that nice and tight. Oops, that came off. And so what we should have is this. Now we're going to have to bend this eventually, all right? We will have to bend that. But now we need to do the same thing on this side. But in this case, we're going to put in our battery clip at this point. That just snaps in right there. This wire right here is going to go under. It goes through here. All right. This one can go in here as well, over here to this side. Okay. And now we need to put this one in here. So let me straighten this one up a little bit more. It's a lot easier to straighten them up before you get them secured into the motor. Okay. So again, I like to have them pretty straight. Might be as good as that one's going to get. So again, we're going to put our connector in. Okay, I'm going to twist this. These connectors cannot touch. If these connectors touch, then the electricity is just going to short out. So they cannot ever touch. So it doesn't matter which one we put on here first. This wire from the battery, or if we put our brush in, we'll put that in the hole, then put the loop down, and then we are going to the wire from the battery. Wrap that as many times as it's going to let us. I'm going to push everything down, pushing from the top. Okay, that's the top back here. I've got my finger on the top of this connector. I'll open this up. So we've got electricity coming in from the battery. It's going to go up through this brush into the armature that's going to spin, back out of that armature, down here into this, back out, up. That's going to go into this electromagnet right here. It's going to go into this one, then it's going to come back out into this wire to the battery. I just got to make sure I connect those. Okay, so I've got this bare wire I don't want it to touch anything else, so that's why it's so much further away. And then I am just going to wrap this. And I want it nice and tight, okay? If you want to, you can even bend this again. But make sure it cannot touch these, okay? We'll make sure that's a nice tight fit. So we've got our two brushes. One is a little taller than the other. That's okay, all right? They should be coming up pretty straight, all right? They shouldn't necessarily touch, okay? But we can bend these a little bit if we need to. They also need to be going straight this way, all right? So as the battery produces electricity, it's going to go out. It's going to go in here. It's going to come up this one. It's going to go into this other part that's going to spin. It's going to come back out of the thing that spins, goes down, connects to this bottom. It's going to come up this wire, go through here, make this an electromagnet, come back out, connect underneath to the battery, back to the battery. If anything else touches in between, it shorts out and doesn't work.